Hello, viewers. Welcome to TEKNXS, a place where technology and finance lovers come to get inspired. One of the significant events of life is marriage. Some people prefer to get married early in life, while others want late marriage. The difference between early and late fact lies in the fact that everyone has different social and economic conditions. In today's video, we're going to discuss a unique topic about marriage. Today's topic is, why do millennials refuse to get married? Let's start with the topic. First, we dive into who are millennials. The generation familiar with the use of the internet, mobile devices, and social media is millennials. The children with a birth range from 1981 to 1996 are millennials. The majority of millennials prefer to deny traditional marriages. Not all the millennials, but the number is increasing day by day. In the 18th century, people married, keeping in view the economic conditions. But the trend changed later. The preferred point for marriage became love rather than money. Now again, it's moving to the conventional tendency, from love to money. The result of the changing trend in marriages is late marriage. In the 1960s, the median age for marriage for males and females was 23 and 20. But now it's 29 for males and 27 for females. Now we come to some facts regarding the marriage of millennials. A recent report of the Urban Institute predicted that a significant portion of millennials would remain unmarried until 40 years of age. Research of Pew Research Center suggests that 25% of millennials are likely never to be married. Why millennials get married late? We discuss 10 main reasons why millennials prefer to get married late. Number 10, the shift of culture. Marriage is like an agreement between two families. In Western culture, the concept of love marriages was limited. Later on, the trend of love marriages promoted, but for now, as women and human rights movements support women to work freely without getting married, the need to get married for social rights vanished almost. The shift of culture towards feminism and the social security of women gave a late marriage trend. Number 9, reproductive rights. Abortion was illegal in most of the states in the world. The reason was ineffective pills and other painful ways of abortion with side effects. Sex education was limited. Humans have sex. Whatever the situation, it does not matter. As a result of pregnancy from sex, people got married early to avoid abortion and other complications. Now, the improved medical assistance for abortion and prevent pregnancy decreased the chances of such early marriages. Number 8, education. Nearly 75% of high school students go for college education. So marriage is not the first step of adulthood. Millennials prefer knowledge over marriage. The duration of education keeps on increasing. Some millennials go even for higher studies and spend years on education. A wedding does not look preference for them. The result arises in the form of late marriages among society. Number 7, the hookup culture. Unlike previous generations, there is a complex dashing scene over millennials evolving into a new era. Apps like Tinder make the book easier for you to book faster than a standard meeting person at a bar. It's not like one night stand is new. Taboo, casual sex is much more common than in the past. Many people cling to monopolies because they are sexually satisfied with the technology available. Number 6, career. With a higher unemployment rate than any other generation, it's difficult to take over a career once a year. Planning a wedding can cause you considerable stress that can leak into your work life, especially if you have a few days off. Millennials' frustrated career, especially in their field, is unlikely to interfere with marriage. Number 5, feminism. Marriage is not the biggest part of history for women. Forced marriages, primarily being used as your family property or being your in-law's servant, are not really what we look forward to. Many women who identify themselves as feminists do not believe in traditional marriage, naming men, and so on. Marriage in some minds represent the idea of a woman having a man-to-man relationship, made quite unpopular. Number 4, sharing debt. When you get married, if your spouse has a lot of credibility and a special kind of debt, it is your burden, even if you're financially responsible. Things like medical bills also become your responsibility. Lenders are allowed to indulge in shared meals even if one of the spouses has nothing to do with the duty. Number 3, finances. People who have been in a relationship for a long time can often hear, "When will you get married?" The real reason to stop tying the knot is money. The average age of marriage in the United States is currently 27 for women and 29 for men. Most get into debt, especially with the highest tuition costs in U.S. history. Since the average cost of a wedding is $26,000, it would not be better to be exactly equal. Number 2, the option to walk away. If you are married, the complications of breaking up your relationship are more difficult than just dashing. As a result, it makes people who are not married, but stronger when they kill each other. Women who are married are less likely to leave abusive partners than women who do. Marriage is often dependent on your partner, making it difficult to leave if things get too much or too dangerous. Number 1. Marriage itself. It's funny to say, but marriage hasn't had the best reputation in the last decade. A 2010 Pew survey found that single people do not see marriage as having many benefits. This age, marriage creates social and economic status, happiness, and sex in society. Is not true. Most people associate marriage instead of security. Now, it's time to discuss some facts about millennials. According to Pew Research, in contrast to past patterns, when adults from all social groups married at almost the same rate, today, according to Pew Research, marriage is more common among people with higher incomes and higher education. A recent article in Time magazine suggested a son marriage, which is considered a lifelong covenant that has been tested for thousands of years before it began. Margaret Mead, a woman far ahead of her time, dispelled the idea in the 1960s. In 2002, journalist and author Pamela Paul wrote a book on early marriages. In 2011, Mexico City proposed legislation supporting 2-year renewable marriage contracts. The fact that fewer millennials choose to marry is also a reflection of modern social attitudes that reject the institution as outdated. It's time to embrace new ideas about romance and family and recognize the end of traditional marriage as society's highest ideal, according to Kate Bolick, author of the 2011 Atlantic cover story All the Single Ladies, who sparked a national conversation. And opinions on the topic differ widely by age. Young adults are much more likely than older adults to say that society is just as fine if people have priorities other than marriage and children. 2/3 of 18 to 29-year-olds express this opinion, as do 53% of 30 to 49-year-olds. Among people aged 50 and over, most say society is better off if people make marriage and children a priority, Pew found. Marriage offers unquestionable benefits, she wrote, but it's a stale paradigm. Rather than having only a choice to marry the same old way or to not marry, let's get a little imaginative and come up with marital options that would be better suited to a variety of people, including a short-term trial union for younger couples, a child-rearing marriage for those who'd like to be nothing more than co-parents, or a socially accepted live-apart arrangement. Marriage rates are declining as many millennials view marriage as less important than before. Rachel Sussman, a psychotherapist and relationship specialist at Sussman Counseling, told Business Insider. An article published last year by University of Zurich economist David Dorn found that falling marriage rates were affected by traditional gender roles and economic forces that make men less attractive. A decline in male-dominated manufacturing jobs and those benefits had made men less attractive as husbands, the study found. Prenuptial agreements, which set expectations for sharing assets and finances in the event of divorce, are typically associated with the wealthy, but they are shedding their stigma and becoming increasingly popular with Americans, especially millennials. This is further proof of how millennials tend to fear divorce and marry later. Many are predisposed to protect their interests, especially when it comes to assets and debts that they have had more time to accumulate prior to marriage. When they get married, millennials do amazing things. They tend to abandon traditional weddings and opt for unconventional venues like barns and farms instead of banquet halls and hotel reception rooms. Business insider Mary Hanbury reported last year, citing research from The Knot. Because they wait longer to get married and live together first, millennials have time to build a collection of basic household items. As a result, honey funds and cash have become more popular wedding gift options than items like toasters or gravy boats, Linda Marx reported for The Times in 2015. Multiple wedding ceremonies are a growing trend among couples getting married. Together, these ceremonies cost an average of $50,000 but can exceed $100,000. Jessica Schiffer reported for the New York Times earlier this year. Millennials admit that they favor more engagement than preceding generations. Although they have earned a recognition for being commitment phobia, simply searching for casual sex, YouGov recorded displays that more than 2/3 of human beings between the age of 18 and 34 are fascinated in a relationship or marriage compromises. Some argue that millennials desire the idea of a relationship or a placeholder rather than a person. In your opinion, why don't millennials get married? Express your thoughts and comments. We reply to each of your individual comments. For more updates, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn bell notification on.